G'day guys, so today is going to be a rundown of the Opus Lite problems versus positives that we've had and encountered with this over the last 8 months of owning it. So, first off, just so you know, we do love this trailer, so don't let my negatives scare you away too much. It's just something to be aware of during the process of purchasing and things for you to keep an eye on before you walk out the showroom floor. So, this thing by no means has been dust or waterproof for us. So we tow it in the rain, the floor inside the trailer would flood. Tow it in dust, the dust would get inside the trailer. So we've been cleaning this thing relentlessly pretty much every time we went on a trip. And it comes up perfect every time because obviously everything's water resistant and stain resistant and stuff like that. So it comes up good. But we've just had it dropped off for warranty after our ex-MAF trip, ex-MAF, Duralia, Coral Bay, all them. And long story short, he's replaced door seals on the toolbox and, not toolbox, the fridge and the pantry side or storage side, whatever you want to call it. Replaced those seals, which I'm happy with. We took it for a tow in the rain. No water got into that area, so that's cool. He's resealed underneath, which I had already done, but it was a rush the day before we left. So he's gone over all the joins and cracks underneath on the floor to make sure no water can get in from there, which does look good as well. However, when we towed it in the rain the other day, we are still getting water inside the camper trailer. Now this does look like it is the ladder door. He has stated to us that it wasn't sealing correctly against the seal on the bottom section of the door, so he has added another strip, but still getting water in. So all I done was get my torch and shut the door and shine the torch on the seals and just look for daylight, and basically the whole front hand side vertical upright of that door isn't actually touching the seal. So I'm just going to do the same thing he's done and add an extra bit of the seal on the front and possibly the rear as well, just so I can rule it out. I reckon that'll be our water and dust ingress situation all done and dusted. Fingers crossed, because it is getting old real fast. The suspension is another thing we've had replaced. For us, I don't know if this is going to be a common thing or not, but we have OP4 coils in our trailer, purely and solely based on the fact that I spat it about how this sits on the road. I've got a lithium battery, which is half the weight of the original battery in there. And this thing, once the roof rack was installed with nothing installed on it, by the time I'd got it home, was 45mm lower on the right hand side of the trailer compared to the left. So as you can imagine, it looks shit towing behind a vehicle, and for me, I felt like it handled a bit more wobbly, swayy on the road. Might just be my imagination because I knew it was lower, but it didn't feel nice to tow. So I basically complained a fair bit about that. In result, I've ended up with OP4 coils in my trailer. Now, I don't know if this is something that would work for you guys. We don't run the draft skirt on the bottom that joins to the trailer to the floor for your floor mat to go on, or your flooring. So it wasn't a big issue for us, but this trailer is now 2.5 inches higher than it originally was factory. So long story short, your draft skirt and your flooring isn't going to sit how it should do in comparison to the stock suspension. So that could be a drama for you guys if you do fully enclose the room, which means you'll have to look at other options. I'm pretty sure they were saying that Petters does upgrade kits for all of their models, so maybe look down that road. Long story short, I wasn't paying for an upgrade because it should be something which is resolved within the company, not something that we have to resolve afterwards. That's my beliefs on it anyway. The roof rack, the mounts from the rack when you fold it over onto the trailer, basically the rubber mounts on the bottom had snapped off and it just started wearing holes in the trailer. So in 28 k's of corrugations, that rack pretty much rubbed 1.5 mil on the front leg and 0.5 mil on the rear leg into the base plate where your bed sits. So as you can imagine, I wasn't happy about that as well. So that has been sorted. There is now 3 polyurethane blocks, left, right and middle mounted there, which is a far better design, and I hope that that's how they're going to do it from now on, because it's just simply a lot stronger. They filled in the holes and painted that trailer again where it's run through, so that it's come up perfect. I'm really happy with the work that they've done with that, and I'm also going to mention that as far as warranty is concerned, they've been really good with their warranty process as well. So they're not the quickest, but they've only got one bloke working in there also trying to build multiple trailers, so it's to be expected that you're going to be waiting a while. But at the end of the day, if their communication is good and you do get your warranty sorted, then I don't have an issue with that. And so far their communication's been amazing. Probably Basecamp, obviously Basecamp WA, probably one of the better companies I've dealt with in regards to communication. But they don't seem to be given much information from Opus themselves. So, what else have we got? These are small things, and this is something that may never affect you guys at all. The jockey wheel for me wouldn't lift the trailer up high enough to get onto my tow ball, even with the drop down tongue. As a matter of fact, it's same problem with two other vehicles that I did try it with. However, we are all lifted, so if you have a stock four-wheel drive, I don't see this being an issue at all. So we now have the ARC 730 dual wheel jockey wheel, and it's been great. It's fully adjustable and it's perfect. Your battery, so it comes with a 100 amp hour AGM battery, which is definitely not even close to being good enough for almost any setup, and their battery quality is shit. So pretty much budget that in. I think the new ones nowadays come with a lithium choice or a lithium upgrade, and if that's the case, that's perfect, and that'll get you guys through quite well. That also means that your roof rack, I think they come standard with the Opus Lite now as well, whereas it was an added extra for us. So for those of you wondering what we paid for this trailer, we paid $26,500 in WA. That's including on-road and transit costs. Base stock, $22,500 plus $999 or $1,000 for the roof rack, which brought it to $23,500, which basically means it's $3,000 transit and on-road costs to get it to WA. I don't know what it's like in the other states, but obviously we are quite secluded over here, so $26,500. I didn't really want to be having these dramas, but yeah, here we are. So onto the positives. This trailer, honestly, you rock up to camp and we can set this trailer up as quick as everyone sets up their caravans. So it's amazing. Like with an annex, if you don't run the annex, then mate, you're gonna beat everyone at camp. It's so quick. And it's the roominess you get inside of it is amazing as well. There's no claustrophobic feeling inside that trailer at all. I think in comparison to the OP2 and the 4, it is a tighter living space, and the kitchen can be a bit annoying not having that extra space, but all we do is basically we close the cooker lid down and we just use that for the dishes to go on, and then I've done my King's table extension, which I've done a video on as well, so that's, if you're interested in that, just check it out. That pretty much gives you plenty of room. The sink is tight to get to, but it beats not having a sink. This is the first one we've had that has a sink in it, so to us it's a luxury. The fact that you can fit 100 litre or 96 litre fridge into the front storage box is amazing, because we went away, we didn't actually need food for the 10 days we were gone. We did do a grocery shop because I ate for all the snacks and chocolate, but it's pretty much, that's me being selfish, but we had enough food packed and stored and frozen in that fridge to last us the whole trip, if not 2 weeks. There's not a lot, I haven't seen many trailers of this weight that have the room to fit such a big fridge in there to accommodate that fridge. And it did tow a little bit wobbly with the sag suspension, in my opinion, but it still towed very nice. And it follows the car really well. I think one thing I would like to see is maybe a relocation of the handbrake cables. Basically, they run underneath the chassis. So your main A-frame, the cables are mounted underneath that. So if you drag that through anything hectic, you're going to be damaging those cables straight away. So hopefully that's something they reassess later on down the track. But I have seen multiple other brands of trailers do the same thing. I'm quite picky with that stuff because I do want to. The whole purpose of me buying this Opus Lite was so that we could tow it anywhere, and I don't want to be one of these people that sets up base camp. I like to just head off, pick a track, pick a beach, and go down there. And basically, this does that job perfectly. The only dramas we're having are the water and dust is the biggest problem, but I think that's 95% sorted now. So I think the roof rack, the second you put a bit of weight on it, it is awkward to sort of lift up and lock into place on your own. It's doable, but in our box, so in this Rhino box up top there, all that has is all the side skirts, the floor, the annex, the pod extension that we got, an extra floor and some hoses in there. So it weighs, let's say 30 kilo. The box weighs 5, so in total probably 35 kilo. And that's max, that's me over exaggerating. We then have an 8 kilo King's shower tent on it and a 5 kilo solar panel. So you're looking at 50 kilo on that rack. And I would not say by any means that it is easy to do on your own. I do it on my own, but it's not easy. And if someone like Kerry, there's no way that I could let Kerry do the rack on her own, because she would definitely hurt herself, or the trailer, more importantly. Can't let her hurt the trailer. So it'd be nice to sort of have some sort of way of safely, when you have weight on that rack, you know, raising the roof rack over. All I do at the moment is I pull these pins out. You can't see that one. I pull these pins out and I put it in the hole you're supposed to lock it into, just to fold the rack over, and then it will rest on that pin. And once it's resting on that pin, I take the weight of the rack, pull the pin out, level it out, and then slide the pin back in. But yeah, it's a little bit of weight for if you're a smaller female or just someone who doesn't have a lot of strength in general to be manhandling on your own. But look, we've probably only, there's people out there that camped more in it than us. We'd be up around maybe 20 nights, a lot of overnighters, and then this big trip. And in this big trip, I was getting so mad about dust and water and the roof rack and all that. And I was spitting the dummy about it. And then we'd get in the trailer and we'd set it up. We'd get in, clean it all out, lie down, chill out in there. And all I wanted to say to Kerry is, I love this trailer, but I'd just been bagging it out. So I didn't want to say that, you know. So basically, like, during our trip, I would say I was being dramatic. I was spitting the dummy about the fact that we bought a new trailer, it leaked water and dust, which, you know, that's fine. That is something you can get upset about. But if the company is willing to take warranty on and fix the trailer for you, then that isn't something that's a deal breaker in my eyes. I was spitting the dummy flat out during the trip, but then the second we'd set the trailer up, clean it all up, get it set up, and start living out of it, it makes you fall in love with it. The room you have in there, and how spacious it is for such a little neat unit is it's definitely worth the hassle. So what am I going to do? What future mods have we got coming up? Basically, there's not going to be a lot. I'm probably going to put some Firestone airbags in the coils, so that when the rack is set up on an angle and the trailer does dip that little bit because of the added weight on that side, I can just pump some air into the bags and maybe level the trailer out. I don't know if they do a kit for the Opus yet, but I'm definitely going to be looking down that line. I really want to work out how to do a rear recovery point, because you can't always recover from the front, and those of you that do four driving with trailers would understand. That's one thing I never had to worry about with Tezza, my old trailer that I built. That thing was built solid, but didn't serve the purpose of being able to, you know, fit two dogs and all that crap in there. So, and I'm going to be running thicker cabling to the front of the trailer, from the DC-DC charger to the front, as I'm currently getting voltage drop, just based on the fact that the cabling is not thick enough for 30 amps to be drawn through. So that's the drama that I have been having at the moment, trying to charge my batteries. I'd only get 10 amps through it, and it's a 30 amp charger. But if I ran an Anderson plug, a thick cable, just out of the DC-DC charger to my car that's only 2 meters long, it straight away pumps 30 amps in. So basically I think I'm just getting voltage drop from the Anderson plug to the charger, that's another thing which doesn't really affect me too much, but something for you guys to take into account. So I hope this guy helps you out, and just gives you a couple of things to look for. Just the one thing I would say is the wiring on mine wasn't the best. It was done in a way that I would say would be satisfactory to past standards, but they would have excess cable. Instead of cutting it short and putting plugs on, they would have 3 meters of cable left, bundle it into a bunch, cable tie it, and just leave it in the battery box for it to rub on whatever was in there. So for me, that wasn't something that I was willing to put up with. So I've trimmed everything to length, but I still need to go through that battery box and tidy it up. But I hope this is I hope this has helped you out. And don't think by any means that I am bagging out the Opus. I'm just letting you know the dramas that I have had with it. This is an unbiased review. And I genuinely do love this trailer. So his name is Otis, and he's a good boy, but he is very temperamental. But you guys know, I own a Land Rover, so I'm used to things always having little problems. But yeah, thanks for watching. I just realised that this is 17 minutes long. So if you guys have sat here the whole time, good on you, because I wouldn't have. I'll catch you on the next one.